Penguin Random House presents The Mahabharata 1, translated by Bibek Debroy, read by Gaurav Marwa. For my wife, Suparna Banerjee Debroy, who has walked this path of dharma with me, Ardha Bharya Manushasya Bharya Sreshta Maha Sakha Bharya Mulam Trivargasya Bharya Mitram Marisyataha. Mahabharata 1:68-40. Nasti bharya samo bandhur nasti bharya sama gatih nasti bharya samo loke sahayo dharma sadhanah. Mahabharata 12:142-10. Acknowledgements. Carving time out from one's regular schedule and work engagements to embark on such a mammoth work of translation has been difficult. It has been a journey of 6 years, 10 volumes, and something like 2.25 million words. Sometimes I wish I had been born in 19th century Bengal, with a benefactor funding me for doing nothing but this. But alas, the days of gentlemen of leisure are long over. The time could not be carved out from professional engagements, barring, of course, assorted television channels who must have wondered why I have been so reluctant to head for their studios in the evenings. It was ascribed to health, interpreted as adverse health. It was certainly health, but not in an adverse sense. Reading the Mahabharata is good for one's mental health and is an activity to be recommended without any statutory warnings. When I embarked on the hazardous journey, a friend, an author interested in Sanskrit and the Mahabharata, sent me an email. She asked me to be careful, since the track record of those who embarked on unabridged translations of the Mahabharata hasn't always been desirable. Thankfully, I survived to finish telling the tale. The time was stolen in the evenings and over weekends. The cost was therefore borne by one's immediate family and to a lesser extent by friends. Socializing was reduced, since every dinner meant one less chapter done. The family has first claim on the debt, though I am sure it also has claim on whatever merits are due. At least my wife, Suparna Banerjee Debroy, does, and these volumes are therefore dedicated to her. For 6 long years she has walked this path of dharma along with me, providing the conducive home-cum-family environment that made undistracted work possible. I suspect Sirius has no claim on the merits, though he has been remarkably patient at the times when he has been curled up near my feet and I have been translating away. There is some allegory there about a dog keeping company when the Mahabharata is being read and translated. Most people have thought I was mad, even if they never quite said that. Among those who believed and thought I was worthwhile, beyond immediate family, are M. Veerappa Moili, Pratap Bhanu Mehta, and Lavish Bhandari, and my sons Nihishanka and Vidroha. The various reviewers of different volumes have also been extremely kind, and many readers have communicated kind words through email and Twitter, inquiring about progress. Penguin also believed. My initial hesitation about being able to deliver was brushed aside by R. Sivapriya, who pushed me after the series had been commissioned by V. Karthika, and then Sumitra Srinivasan became the editor, followed by Poulama Datta. The enthusiasm of these ladies was so infectious that everything just snowballed, and Poulama ensured that the final product of the volumes was much more readable than what I had initially produced. When I first embarked on what was also a personal voyage of sorts, the end was never in sight and seemed to stretch to infinity. There were moments of self-doubt and frustration. Now that it is all done, it leaves a vacuum, a hole. That's not simply because you haven't figured out what the new project is. It is also because characters who have been part of your life for several years are dead and gone. I don't mean the ones who died in the course of the actual war, but the others. Most of them faced rather tragic and unenviable ends. Along that personal voyage, the Mahabharata changes you, or so my wife tells me. I am no longer the person I was when I started it as an individual. That sounds cryptic, deliberately so. Anyone who reads the Mahabharata carefully is bound to change, discount the temporary, and place a premium on the permanent. To all those who have been part of that journey, including the readers, thank you. The original 10 volumes were published sequentially as they were completed between 2010 and 2014. Introduction. The Hindu tradition has an amazingly large corpus of religious texts spanning Vedas, Vedanta, Brahmanas, Aryanyakas, Aranyakas, Upanishads, Vedangas, Smritis, Puranas, Dharmashastras, and Itihasa. For most of these texts, especially if one excludes classical Sanskrit literature, we don't quite know when they were composed and by whom. Not that one is looking for single authors. Some of the minor Puranas, Upapurana, are of later vintage. For instance, the Bhavishya Purana, which is often listed as a major Purana or Mahapurana, mentions Queen Victoria. In the listing of the corpus above figures Itihasa, translated into English as history. History doesn't entirely capture the nuance of Itihasa, which is better translated as this is indeed what happened. Itihasa isn't myth or fiction. It is a chronicle of what happened. It is fact, or so runs the belief. And Itihasa consists of India's 2 major epics, the Ramayana and the Mahabharata. The former is believed to have been composed as poetry and the later as prose. This isn't quite correct. The Ramayana has segments in prose and the Mahabharata has segments in poetry. Itihasa doesn't quite belong to the category of religious texts in a way that the Vedas and Vedanta are religious. However, the dividing line between what is religious and what is not is fuzzy. After all, Itihasa is also about attaining the objectives of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, and the Mahabharata includes Hinduism's most important spiritual text, the Bhagavad Gita. The epics are not part of the Shruti tradition. That tradition is like revelation without any composer. The epics are part of the Smriti tradition. At the time they were composed, there was no question of texts being written down. They were recited, heard, memorized, and passed down through the generations. But the Smriti tradition had composers. The Ramayana was composed by Valmiki, regarded as the first poet or kavi. The word kavi has a secondary meaning as poet or rhymer. The primary meaning of kavi is someone who is wise. And in that sense, the composer of the Mahabharata was no less wise. This was Vedvyasa or Vyasadeva. He was so named because he classified Vyasa, the Vedas. Vedvyasa or Vyasadeva isn't a proper name, it is a title. Once in a while, in accordance with the needs of the era, the Vedas need to be classified. Each such person obtains the title, and there have been 28 Vyasadevas so far. At one level, the question about who composed the Mahabharata is pointless. According to popular belief, and according to what the Mahabharata itself states, it was composed by Krishnadvaipayana Vedvyasa, Vyasadeva. But the text was not composed and cast in stone at a single point in time. Multiple authors kept adding layers and embellishing it. Sections just kept getting added, and it is no one's suggestion that Krishnadvaipayana Vedvyasa composed the text of the Mahabharata as it stands today. Consequently, The Mahabharata.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?